What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I am so excited about the person who I'm going to bring on to the podcast. This has been one of those podcast interviews that have been long overdue, long history in the making type of thing. I mean, we've been trying to make this happen for I'd say 6 months plus. I lost count at this point, but the point is we are finally here and we're going to make this happen because the person who I'm going to bring on, if there's anybody who symbolizes social worker at its finest, it's this person. If there's anybody who symbolizes someone whose heart is within the community and someone who really loves everybody she comes across, as far as from anyone within the community and from even her own family, and of course with her being a wonderful mom of twins, which we'll get into of course later. And she's just an ultimate badass, as she would like to call it. She's an ultimate chingona. Let's just say that. With that being said, I would love to introduce my friend, who happens to be, by the way, the owner and CEO of the nonprofit Esperanza de Tejas, if you haven't figured it out by now. Brianna Davis, welcome aboard the HFWB podcast series. What is going on?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just really, really excited to share my story with you and everyone that listens to your podcast, and just kind of educate our community on Esperanza de Tejas and the services that we provide.
Well, with that being said, Brianna, let's just dive on in. For everybody who is listening to this episode of the HFWB podcast series and wondering, who is Brianna Davis? How would you best describe your overall story in a nutshell?
So, I'm a native of Corpus Christi. I've been living here for almost my whole life. I'm a West Side girl through and through. From the 40, as people like to call it here in Corpus Christi. Basically, my story is one of many of people in our community. I, at a real young age, really just kind of fell into what people would call the wrong crowd. And I started gang banging at a real young age. I started selling and doing drugs. And by the time I was in 8th grade, I just decided that school was no longer for me. I attempted to go to 9th grade freshman year. I got kicked out of a few schools here locally, and 8th grade was the last grade that I fully completed. I was fortunate enough to have, a group of people who really rallied behind me and championed for me to really get my life together. At the age of 18, I got my GED. I went on to get my bachelor's degree from the University of Houston downtown in social science and my master's in social work from the University of Southern California. I've been fortunate enough to travel. I've lived in Oakland, California, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and I've been back in the Coastal Bend for what's going to be year 6 this year. My background primarily is in mental health. I created the drug diversion program in Oakland, California. The drug diversion program here in the Coastal Bend. And in 2019, I just got really frustrated and having my clients come in, needing resources, needing assistance, and there just being so much red tape. I would be, calling, places, just seeing that they had got funding and big check presentations and wondering why they could not help my clients. So in 2019, I often tell the story because this is how everything went down. I was at, calling my husband from my job, and then he was like, look, at the time my husband's in tech, he was working in the state, and I said, I'm not talking about those because I couldn't get for work, and he's like, yeah. And you my community how much I love them. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is removing barriers in regards to people accessing our services. Meaning we understand that people from various socioeconomic statuses might need help from us, but people might need our services more economically.
That says so much as far as what you overall stand for, as far as your overall community work and everything. And a lot of people don't understand how much your hands is into everything. And it's like, I look at you, Brianna, as like literally like a walking miracle, because most people don't remember this or know about this. You literally were in one of the most severe car accidents that I've ever witnessed. And it was to the point where you almost could have died, which a lot of people don't realize, and that you're still recovering from this to this very day.
Yeah.
Where is this drive, this passion, as far as your overall work come from, as far as allowing you to push forward and continue to do the things you're doing on a regular basis?
Let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So since I've had the twins, they have been my biggest motivation. I genuinely just want to work on making our community a better place, since this is the community that my sons are going to be in. I want to be a woman that my kids are going to be like, that's my mom. Like, my mom did that. She's gone through so much in her life, and she's like killing the game kind of thing. So since I've had my twins, they are just like, they've been game changers for me. I've never felt a motivation and a love like I have for them ever in my life. So when I had my accident, I was literally like repeating their names like a mantra to stay awake and stay coherent and not pass out, so I could tell all the first responders my name, my address, information. It just seemed like everything just happened so fast. My biggest concern was them, you know. When everything went down, it was literally down the street from my house. And by the grace of God, one of my childhood friends, he was in the area, and he saw the accident, and I was able to stay coherent and have him call my husband. And my biggest thing was like, hey, like, I know you're about to run to me because I'm literally down the street, but I need you to call my mom and dad because I need someone to be there to watch the twins. And even in that state, with my bones showing in my arm and glass and gravel just coming out all over my body, and them using 2 jaws of life to cut me out of a vehicle, my biggest concern was my kids. So they are my daily motivation. When I have my days where I'm just like not wanting to do anything, they motivate me, and I'm so grateful that I've been blessed with them.
No, that just is a testament within itself. I mean, I remember when I first saw that, I thought that was one of the most gruesome things I've ever witnessed. And then the fact that you're just here, just talking to me within this form of a podcast interview, Brianna, after so long and after all that you went through, I just feel completely honored within myself just to even be able to have this conversation with you, because this has been long overdue, and it's like, your journey is just so inspirational. Like we talked about this many a times, as far as coming up from the wrong crowd and basically turning yourself into a woman who's truly educated, and now she's putting that education back into the community. And now here we are, Lord behold, you got your own nonprofit that you're literally building into a powerhouse before our very eyes, Esperanza de Tejas. You got to give me the backstory on that, Brianna. What made you want to put together this nonprofit in order to give back and inspire hope, ironically enough?
Yeah, so Esperanza, like you said, it means hope. And I think throughout our lives, everyone has a situation or goes through something in their life where they're just needing that glimmer of hope. And I've had many instances in my life where that's what I needed. And I've been fortunate enough to have people in different times of my life give me that hope. So what I wanted to do was just be that hope for our community. And, you know, God willing, in the next 10 years, we will be all over Texas. That is my plan. And that's why I named it Esperanza de Tejas, Hope of Texas. Because we plan to be that hope. And I created Esperanza basically out of the need that I saw. Like I previously said, when I first started it, it was out of frustration for having to call so many organizations and there just being so much red tape, and me not understanding like why we have so many people in despair, in need in our community, and why are we worried about if someone has a license and it's valid. Like, are you kidding me? You know, like stuff like that, just very stuff that is just, it's mind boggling. So when we first started, like I said, it was in 2020 and COVID hit. And for a while, we were just doing triage services, you know, giving out masks, you know, hygiene items, food distribution, hand sanitizer, things that in that COVID period were just, you know, very much hot commodities that people needed. And then I had my twins, and I was like, how do single parents do it? How do, you know, grandparents who are raising grandchildren do it? And I'm meeting these people, and I'm hearing about siblings raising siblings and aunts and uncles raising, you know, their nieces and nephews, because we lost so many people to COVID. So I met Marilena, and she runs the Free Store Corpus Christi, and they focus on providing basic necessities for adults. And she was seeing children come, and she said, look, you already have a strong connection with local schools, and you do a lot of stuff for the youth. So we created the children's free store and our diaper bank. Me having twins, I'm fortunate enough to have my husband and my parents help me a lot. And I'm like, how are these people, if I'm having to buy 2 of everything, how are, you know, people who have 3, 4, 5 kids doing it? So we wanted to create the diaper bank to give out diapers, wipes, formula, clothing to families here in the Coastal Bend. And then we have our Gardens of Hope. We all saw during COVID the need for self-sustainability. But not only that, when you're gardening, it releases like natural serotonin in your brain. So it's also a way for adults and children to have that, you know, regulation of their emotions, that self-regulation, and have a way to expose them to STEM, you know, find a new coping skill, and also reduce our carbon footprint here in our community. And then we have our Mori Esperanza Scholarship Fund. Like I previously said, you know, the last grade that I fully completed was 8th grade. And because of that, I wanted to make sure that we were providing soft and hard skills for our local youth, things like resume writing, interview skills, what does financial literacy look like, what does imposter syndrome look like, and how can we work through that? Why do we not need to do code switching anymore? What does it look like to be an authentic leader? So we have leadership summits, and then we provide local scholarships to high school students. And a lot of these scholarships are GPA and merit based. And I wanted to do something different because I wasn't the best, scholar when I was in school. So we have these kids volunteering with us, and they learn about Esperanza. They're out there with us when we're handing out these items. I show them, okay, today, based off today's data, we need at our next, distribution, size 5 diapers, size 6 diapers. We need this, we need that. I show them data. I'm out here showing them what a community looks like. Because I we have right there, just because here in our community.
Yes, I mean, everything that you're doing, Brianna, is just like, it's inspirational within itself, because it's like you're basically allowing others to not go through what you went through growing up, and you're basically pulling those experiences out of your heart, of course, and you're pouring it into the nonprofit organization. You're basically giving people the blueprint, like, hey, you don't have to go this way. I'm going to show you how you can go the right way, and we're going to do things a little bit different. And at the same time, we're going to get into the trenches, and we're actually going to get out there and put ourselves out there for the sake of the community. Just offer a great cause and just inspire hope, which is what Esperanza de Tejas is about. And to add to all that, Brianna, I want to say this, and most people have heard me say this before: hope is always the foundation for a bright future, in the words of Martin Luther King. And you're living proof of that, Brianna, and I'm inspired by that tremendously, and I'm always super proud and supportive of you every single time. So I want to give you my flowers through the HFWB podcast series, even though I've done it numerous of times in person. I want to give you my flowers, your flowers on the HFWB podcast series, because you deserve it, most importantly. But for anybody who's listening out there who doesn't know necessarily how to get involved in the community, who doesn't know like the art of doing like social work like you do so well, and who wants to get into that, what would you tell that person who's listening to the HFWB podcast series right now, as far as your key pieces of advice?
Find what you're passionate about. Like for me, besides Esperanza, like I'm involved in the Junior League of Corpus Christi. I'm involved in LULAC Para Todos. I'm a part of the Texas Association of Black Higher Educational Professionals. I'm part of the Black Chamber, the United Chamber. I am on the board for the Boardroom Project. I recently just joined the Hispanic Women's Network, and then I've been a member of my sorority for 16 years, Gamma Alpha Omega. And each and every one of those organizations, they speak to me and they fulfill me in a way that I know I'm doing God's will through them. So just find something that you're passionate about, whether it's volunteering at an animal shelter, volunteering with Esperanza. I also do programming for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm their master level social worker. Volunteering through them. There's so many ways to get involved, and it can be something even small. If you don't want to do anything with a big organization, I have a friend, Tiffany Cardenas, and her husband and her family, they will just make sandwiches, and one Sunday out of the month they go around and they feed our homeless brother and sisters here in the community. So it can be something as simple as that. Just find what speaks to your soul and go with it.
I love it. And it's like, and to add on to everything that you were saying, Brianna, based off of I counted, just for everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, I counted literally 10 organizations that Brianna's involved in, and it's probably going to continue to add up. And if you haven't understood the whole concept of what we're talking about, just get involved in something that you're passionate about and turn it into something big. I mean, Brianna's literally living proof of doing exactly that. If she can do it, and if I can do it, so can you. And that's well said, Brianna, and I truly agree with you 100% on that. Now, we're basically at the point of the podcast where I'm going to ask you like a list of questions that I ask everybody who comes on the podcast, but I'll twist it a little bit just for you, of course.
Okay.
First question is simple, Brianna. What's the first thing you do or think of whenever you wake up every single morning? But I feel like I have a feeling what the answer to that is.
I'm like, man, are the twins going to be wilding today? Because, man.
That's what I was going to say. I had a feeling it was going to be, if you haven't figured it out by now, Brianna is a wonderful, strong, supportive mother who holds her twins higher than almost anything itself. I know that from many conversations I've had with her in the past, so I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. I mean,
they're going to be in today, you know, and the mood that they're in kind of predicts how my day is going to go. So that's basically the first thing that I think of when I wake up in the morning.
Without question, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, when you think of these two words, Brianna, health and wealth, right? What is your personal definition in your own eyes on what it means to you?
Health is just feeling good about yourself, making sure that you are protecting your mind, body, and soul. I think often people think that health is just a physical aspect, but they forget that our brain is one of the biggest muscles that we have. So just ensuring that, you know, health is making sure that you're healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever that means to you. And wealth, it doesn't mean that you are in a financial aspect. For me, I'm rich in love from my husband, my children, my parents, and I'm rich in the way that I get that love from the community. So for me, my wealth is the love that I give and I give out. And then, of course, you know, you always want to be financially stable, right? But you know, for me, I'm very much rich in love, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Well said, and that's what makes you a very, very fearless and selfless and talented leader within itself, which leads into my next question I want to ask you, Brianna. When it comes to being a leader, what defines a leader in your eyes?
I think a leader is someone that is authentic in the way that they move, very transparent, and is not afraid to make decisions that might be hard. Also, a leader understands that business is business and personal is personal. And I've had to learn that a lot in my journey with Esperanza. And also for me, I welcome constructive criticism, because I can only see things through my perspective, through my lens. And I have that lens because of my story and my background and my life experiences. So I welcome my constructive criticism for my background, because that's the only way that I'm not going to be able to learn unless people tell me, hey, like, you need to work on this. This is what I need from you. I'm never perfect. One of the things my grandfather always told me is that in life you're always learning. So I just want to continue to learn.
That's well said. That is definitely well said. And Overall, Brianna, I was going to also ask you, as far as from an either or perspective, would you rather choose loyalty or respect?
Loyalty, because respect is not given, it's earned. So I'm always going to, in my eyes, I'm always going to get the respect that I need because I earn it. But loyalty, you want to make sure that you always have those people around you that are true. Like for me, I have a group of girlfriends, and one of my best friends my best friend I've known since I was 6 years old, and my girlfriends, we've known each other since we were like 11. I mean, those are like my ride or dies, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I keep a very close-knit group around me that I've known. I call them my sandboxes, you know, since I was young, because they have shown that loyalty to me. And I know because of that, they're also going to tell me when I'm wrong. They're going to call me out on my BS, and they're going to tell me what I can do better.
Would you rather, if you had the choice, Brianna, live in space or live in the ocean?
I would say live in the ocean. I'm not. A lot of people are not into, you know, astrology, but I'm a Cancer, so I like to call myself an emotional gangster because of that. But we're very much water signs, and I'm very much attracted to the water. I love the water.
I appreciate the honesty within that, and I love that, as a matter of fact. Would you rather, Brianna, be famous and poor or anonymous and rich?
I would say famous and poor. What was the other one?
Anonymous and rich.
Anonymous and rich. I told my husband one of my dreams is to write a book under one of those fake names. Like, I would love to write a book about my story, but I also feel like people that know me be like, oh, this is Brianna's story. Because, like, my life story could probably be, like, a good Lifetime movie. But, yeah.
That would be a bestseller right there all over the place.
Yeah.
And you probably could get away with it, too. I mean, for people who know you will know it's you, but for the average person, they'll probably be like, oh, my God, I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
So I can see you pulling that off, actually, Brianna, now that you mention it. And now I know this for a fact, you definitely have some music taste in you. And that's which leads to me asking you this. Would you rather dance to every song or sing to every song?
Sing. My husband says my rhythm is not what I think it is. And I know I'm not a good singer, but I'm just one of those people, like, when you're feeling it, my face gets like that, and I'm using hand gestures. So I really, the way that a song can invoke feelings out of you just makes you want to belt whatever note you can, you know, at the highest level. So I would say sing.
And to add to the whole music trend that we're going, say, for instance, Brianna, you're on a deserted island and you could listen to 5 artists with their whole entire catalogs. Who would they be and why, as far as any genre?
Selena. I mean, I'm from Corpus. That's like a no-brainer. I think most, you know, Latina little girls in our community, even to this day, they look up to her. And there's not like a song that you can't jam to. I absolutely adore her and love her music. And she's a fellow GED recipient like me, which a lot of people don't realize. And she was like so business savvy. Tupac, I am a big Tupac fan. I tell Derek all the time, if he was still alive, I'd probably be married to him. And then I really, really like DMX. I mean, I'm a big DMX fan. He goes hard. There's nothing that I like his music. And I mean, I like to try and mimic his bark and his growl. So I'd probably be going crazy on a deserted island, growling at myself, listening to DMX. And then I would say a lot of people don't know I'm like obsessed with Kenny Chesney. He's a country artist. Fun fact, I have tried to meet him 2 times and ran after his tour bus. So Kenny, if you ever get a hold of this podcast, holler at your girl. Yeah, I'm a big fan. And then, who else? Janae Aiko. I love her. She gets me in my feelings, and I'll be jamming her, and I'll come home and act like Derek did something wrong because I'm listening to some song. And he's like, "Why are you mad? You're not allowed to listen to her." And I'm like, I don't know. You did something wrong. She told me you did, But yeah, her songs really get me in my feelings. I love her music.
I love that list because, and to add to the whole Janae Aiko thing, that is exactly how it is with me and my girlfriend Emily. Whenever she listens to her or SZA, she acts like there's always something wrong, and I'm just like, what the hell did I do? I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But regardless of that list, I like it. It's very versatile, and you probably will be having so much of a party on a deserted island, Brianna, that somebody will probably come just so they can join the party, because that is a very versatile playlist, by the way. And I know this about you as well, Brianna. You definitely have traveled a few places as well. Do you name a place where you traveled to that you enjoyed the most, and where's a place you would like to travel?
I genuinely loved Oakland, San Francisco, the Bay Area. It was such a vibe. We lived there for a bit, me and my husband, and I genuinely miss it. It's very rich in culture. It's very rich in tradition, and I just love how the Bay Area. Somewhere where I've always wanted to travel to. I've always wanted to see the pyramids in Mexico. I've never been able to go out there and see that. I recently just did my ancestry DNA, and it's almost 30%. I'd love to go there
Not bad at all. And regardless, as far as everything, you're probably one of the busiest people that I know, without a doubt, Brianna. When you're not doing everything that you're doing on a regular basis, what is something that you like to do that many people may not know that you like to do?
So, I like to step. Like I said, I'm a lifetime member of my sorority, Gamma Alpha Omega, and back in my prime, I was what they call step and stroll mistress. So sometimes me and Derek will randomly be stepping and making a little beat, and I'll join in or whatever. And yeah, we're stomping our own little yard here at the crib, But yeah, I really enjoy that. And then I also it's weird. My grandfather got me into it, but I collect coins. I have a coin collection that he started for me when I was younger, and I'm hoping that maybe one of the twins or both of them will get into that with me.
Interesting. And last question before we wrap everything up, of course, Brianna. Say you had the opportunity to talk to yourself 10 years ago, right? What would you tell yourself? And at the same time, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
I think I would tell myself 10 years ago that everything's gonna work out. It's everything is everything. What's meant for you will always be meant for you. And where do I see myself 10 years from now? I see myself having Esperanza as the headquarters here, having different satellite offices all throughout Texas, being able to be so established where I'm still hands-on with the organization, but I'm not as doing, I've already laid the foundation by then. and enjoying the twins. At 10 years from now, they'll be 12 years old. So I'll be in that, preteen stage, and I don't know what that's going to look like. But just enjoying time with my little puppies, they're everything to me. So, 10 years from now, I'll be probably that mom at middle school football games and, all of that. So I look forward to that.
Screaming, go, puppies, go! You better do it how I raised you and everything.
Rick said he's scared when they start sports. He's like, I cannot have gangster breed coming out, and I do not need you starting stuff with parents or the refs. So I'm gonna have to do some meditation before I go to their sports games.
And if you need help with that, you can always hit up your boy. But with that being said, Brianna, let the people know where they can get in contact with you, how they can contribute, donate, get involved with Esperanza de Tejas. This is your time to shine.
Yeah, so we're always looking for organizations or companies who are willing to host what we call a pamper party for us. We're always in need in diapers, and for diapers and wipes, what we distribute to families in our community. If you're wanting to volunteer, you can email us at hope@esperanzadetejas.org. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Esperanza de Tejas. My personal Instagram she is Brianna J. And we're always looking for people who are willing to donate or wanting to volunteer. We're able to do the work that we do based off the generosity of our community. So without them, we are nothing, and we're very appreciative. We're in year 3 right now. So for us to be able to have longevity and sustain, we need the backing of our community. And I think what else speaks volumes of community helping their fellow community members. So I'm always willing to answer any phone call, answer any email. The number that you see on our website is mine directly. Everyone gets, to speak to me, and I'm always available. I always make time for those people who want to be agents of hope.
And with that being said, it's yes. I mean, Brianna, everybody should recognize the passion, if anything, from listening to this episode of the podcast. And the reason why I say that is that you have to be passionate as far as in order to make a difference in the community, as you know oh so well, Brianna. And for everyone who's listening, again, don't be afraid to get involved. Be passionate about what you're about. And who knows, you could be in a position that Brianna's in, you could be in a position that I'm in, and you can just create your own legacy within your own right. And I feel like that's the perfect way to end this episode. And with that being said, Brianna, thank you so much for finally making this interview happen on the HFWB podcast series, blessing us with an appearance, and simply just making time out of your busy schedule. I don't know how you do it, but you pull a rabbit out of your hat every time, Brianna, and I salute you for that.
Thank you, Clifton, for having me, and thank you for being a great supporter of Esperanza. And, we're not able to do the things that we do and get, our information out if it wasn't for people such as yourself. So I appreciate you making the time for me as well. And understanding, because a lot of people, when I have to reschedule, because I'm like, hey, my twins come first, they're like, it's now or never. So thank you for understanding that I'm a mother above all. So I really appreciate that.
No, of course, Brianna. And with that being said, this is your host, Clifton Pope of the HFWB podcast series. I encourage everybody to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, y'all, peace and love.